Welcome, deep divers, to episode 9 of the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions deep dive. Today, we are really taking on a titan, maybe the titan of challenging literature, James Joyce's Finnegans Wake. Now, you've probably heard the reputation, right? Complex, dense, baffling.
Impenetrable is one you hear a lot.
Exactly. Impenetrable. Practically written in its own code. It's, that book everyone knows of, but honestly, very few have actually read it cover to cover, or even page to page sometimes.
It's true.
It's a huge challenge, a real labyrinth of language and meaning. But that's why we're here today. We've gathered some fantastic sources, and we're aiming to help you crack that code. We want to pull out the key themes, the unforgettable characters, even if they keep changing, and the big symbols, basically give you a kind of skeleton key for this thing.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Our mission here for this deep dive is really to demystify Finnegans Wake for you. We want to hand you that skeleton key, not just to sort of understand it intellectually, but to really unlock its humor.
Which people forget about.
They do. And it's incredible wordplay, layers upon layers of it, and the surprisingly human stuff hidden deep inside. Imagine, being able to actually talk about insights into this experimental masterpiece at your book club.
Huh. That'd be something.
Or just, having a richer appreciation for one of the cornerstones of 20th century literature. Look, our goal isn't to make you a Joyce scholar overnight. That's a lifetime's work, maybe.
Or 200 sessions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we want to help you appreciate its genius, maybe spark your curiosity, perhaps even inspire you to dip your own toes into its unique literary currents. And to do that, we've pulled from some great sources. Serious academic essays, sharp literary criticism, some really helpful YouTube summaries breaking down tricky ideas.
Yeah, those were good.
And even a fantastic Finnegans Wake for Dummies guide by Sebastian Knowles. He's a scholar who totally gets why people find this book so intimidating.
Right.
So we've basically put together a decoder ring for this famously complex work, just for you.
Okay, let's dive in then. One of the absolute first things that jumps out from all the sources, maybe the most critical point, is that Finnegans Wake. Well, you just can't read it like a normal novel.
Not at all.
Joyce apparently was trying to replicate dream logic. Now, what does that actually mean, dream logic? And how does it change how we should even try to read this book?
Yeah, that's the core of it. And it's fascinating because many scholars, like Robert Erickson, whose work we looked at, describe the Wake less as a story and more as an object.
Ooh.
Or a usable device.
A usable device, like a tool.
Kind of. Something you actively engage with, not just passively consume.
Yep.
And dream logic is key to that engagement. Think about your own dreams, right? How your mind just leaps between images. Memories from yesterday smash into something from childhood. Puns suddenly make perfect sense.
For a second, anyway.
Exactly. For a second. It's that free-flowing river of thought. It's nonlinear, doesn't care about grammar rules, bypasses normal logic, shifts focus constantly, a conventional novel. It gives you a clear plot, characters you can track, a beginning, middle, end, guides you along.
Right, holds our hand.
Finnegans Wake just throws all that out.
Yeah.
Deliberately. It offers, as Erickson puts it, a playground of language, history, and myth. And you, the reader, you're invited to play.
So you become an active participant, like you're building the meaning yourself.
You are. You're a co-creator. You're filling in gaps, making connections, deciphering this world that resists easy answers. You have to surrender to the flow, just like in a dream.
So it really is like Joyce hands us this incredibly complex jigsaw puzzle, but without the picture on the box, and just says, off you go.
That's a great way to put it.
And Erickson also mentions the weight being profoundly self-referential. How does that work? Does the book talking about itself help us, or just add another layer of difficulty?
That's an excellent question. It sounds like it would just make it harder, right? But it's actually part of Joyce's genius. Self-referential means the book is often commenting on its own existence, on the act of reading it, on how we make meaning out of words. You might find passages that loop back, words echoing other words chapters away, sentences that almost seem aware they're being read.
Like the text is winking at you.
Exactly like that. The big implication is that meaning isn't fixed. It's not just delivered to you. It's constantly being generated by you as you interact with the text. It's like a meta-conversation about literature, interpretation, language itself, a loop where reading becomes part of the story.
Okay, deep divers, buckle up, because the opening lines of Finnegans Wake are, well, they're legendary. And they pack so much in. Riverrun past even Adams from swerve of shore to bend of bay brings us by a commodious vicus of recirculation back to Howth Castle and environs.
Yeah.
It feels like a riddle, like he's giving us the whole game right there, but in code. What are the clues?
Oh, it's brilliant foreshadowing. Right there, that opening.
Yeah.
A crucial point. Did you notice the circular structure? It's your biggest hint right off the bat.
How so? Because it starts mid-sentence.
Precisely. It starts with the end of a sentence that finishes on the very last page of the book. And the last words flow directly back into these opening words. Riverrun.
Ah, okay, so it literally loops.
Literally. Like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail.
Yeah.
A continuous loop, a cycle, just like a river's flow. This ideal of eternal return is baked into the book's four-part structure. Part 4, especially, drives home this never-ending cycle of, well, everything. History, life, narrative.
Like seasons changing or birth and death?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Every ending is a new beginning. It's fundamental.
So if we accept this ambiguity, this endless loop, where does this massive dream story actually anchor itself? Is it just floating in abstract cycles, or is it grounded somewhere?
That's a great point, because it is grounded. Right in the heart of that cycle, it's rooted very specifically in Dublin.
Ah, Dublin again. Like Ulysses.
Even more profoundly, maybe. Joyce literally maps the body of Finnegan, the sleeping giant figure, onto the Dublin landscape. It's this amazing fusion of myth and place. Howth Head, the peninsula near Dublin. That becomes the giant's head. Phoenix Park, a real place.
Yeah, the big park.
That becomes his upturned toes. The whole city's streets, pubs, the river Liffey itself gets caught up in this giant's wake, this pattern of death and rebirth.
Wow. So the city isn't just a backdrop.
Not at all. It's a living character. It breathes with the myth.
That's an incredible image, the landscape as a living entity in the story.
Exactly. And Finnegans Wake, remember, isn't just about one man's dream or one city. It's aiming for the collective human experience, repeating across time and cultures. Dublin becomes the microcosm for that huge narrative. It's even a kind of doubling, like the name Dublin suggests, mirroring how identities and histories merge and shift throughout the book. The city's specific history, its geography, it's all woven into the characters' dream lives.
Making it both super specific and totally universal at the same time.
That's the magic Joyce is aiming for.
Okay, let's try and meet the main players, although I gather main players may be too strong a term. Their identities seem pretty slippery.
Slippery is a good word. Fluid, multifaceted. This is where Joyce really messes with our idea of character. We start with Finnegan, the fallen giant. His wake, his funeral party sets the whole thing off, but he's less a specific person and more an archetype. He embodies those universal themes, the fall, death, resurrection. You see echoes of Finn McCool, the Irish giant sleeping under the hills.
Right, the legend.
Thor, the thunder god. Osiris, the Egyptian god of rebirth. Even Christ, sacrifice and resurrection. Joyce describes him as a man of hod, cement, and edifices.
A builder, civilizations rising and falling.
Exactly. And his name, Finnegan, hence it, Finn again, he'll rise again. It's cyclical.
So Finnegan is this big mythic template for the cycles in the book, and then his successor is HCE, Humphrey Chimpden Earwicker.
Yes. HCE. He's the patriarch figure in the dream, the sort of everyman, but a very flawed everyman. He carries Finnegan's legacy, echoes Adam with his sin, Noah surviving the flood, carries that burden of human failing, guilt. But what's really wild here is Joyce's agnomen technique. HCE isn't just HCE.
Right. You mentioned the initials are everywhere.
Everywhere. And he takes on thousands, literally thousands of different names and identities. He's Here Comes Everybody when he represents all of humanity. He's Howth Castle and environs when he's the landscape. He's figures from history, myth, even jokes.
Wow. So it's not just wordplay.
It's much deeper. It's this incredible commentary on the fragmented nature of identity, especially in the modern world. Think about all the different selves we present, online, at work, with family.
Yeah, true.
Joyce saw that fragmentation coming. HCE embodies that multiplicity within even the most seemingly ordinary person.
Yeah.
Those initials, HCE, are like this recurring signature woven through everything, reminding us of this central shifting figure. It's deeply human, this shape-shifting.
The density of meaning is staggering, even in a name. Okay, what about his wife? ALP. Anna Livia Plurabelle. Another name packed with meaning, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. ALP is, well, she's more than just a character. She is the river Liffey, the river flowing through Dublin and flowing through the whole novel.
Literally and figuratively.
Exactly. She represents the feminine principle, the life-giving force constantly changing like a river. We see her as a young nymph, then a mature, matronly stream carrying life's burdens, and finally an old scrub woman approaching the sea, the end, which is also a beginning. This transformation connects her to ancient river goddesses Isis, the Egyptian goddess, the Celtic goddess Danu. the river as creation and destruction.
Carrying the past and the future in its flow.
Precisely. Her waters carry the debris of past civilizations, but also the seeds of the future. She mirrors history's cycles. She's endurance, memory, constant fluid change, the eternal mother.
She sounds like time itself flowing through the story. Amazing. And then they have twin sons, Shem and Shaun. Total opposites, I hear. Classic sibling rivalry stuff.
They are polar opposites. It's that timeless brother battle, archetype Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau. But it's also the tension within the human psyche itself.
Not so.
Shem is the penman, the artist, often seen as Joyce's self-portrait, rebellious, intellectual, creative, maybe a bit isolated.
The outsider.
Right. And Shaun is the postman. He's the foil, grounded, practical, conforms to society, the man of the world, outwardly successful, maybe a bit smug.
Okay.
They're rivals for their sister Izzy's affection, and symbolically, they're competing to replace their father, HCE, in the cycle. Joyce uses them to explore Giordano Bruno's idea.
The philosopher.
Yeah, his law of opposites, that these opposing forces, Shem and Shaun, aren't just enemies. They're interconnected, two sides of the same coin. They define each other. It's that creative tension that drives things forward.
And Izzy, the sister, the daughter, she's depicted as fragmented, you said, like a shattered mirror. And she's desired by her father and brothers. Sounds complicated.
It is. A very tangled web, reflecting complex family dynamics, but magnified to a mythic level. And woven into all this family stuff is this central scandal. It hangs over HCE. Something supposedly happened in Phoenix Park, some kind of sexual indiscretion. But true to the Wake's nature, the details are fuzzy, never clear.
So it's a core mystery. Joyce keeps us guessing.
He does. It's less about the facts of what happened and much more about the whispers, the gossip, the speculation. The story changes every time it's told.
Highlighting how rumors work, how memory is unreliable.
Exactly. It represents some kind of universal human failing, maybe original sin. HCE, as every man, carries this burden. Joyce isn't interested in easy answers. He wants us to wrestle with the uncertainty. Later in the book, in part 2, scene 3, there's this chaotic pub scene where HCE faces all this disapproval. He gives this forced, drunken confession.
So we find out what happened?
Not really. The confession itself is ambiguous.
Yeah.
And paradoxically, it leads to him sort of transforming into Rory O'Connor, the last High King of Ireland.
Wow. Connecting his personal fall to this huge historical decline.
Precisely. It's more a symbolic weight than a specific event you can pin down.
Speaking of mysteries and things you can't quite pin down, what about that letter? The one the hen digs up. That seems like a really key recurring element in the sources, like a puzzle inside the puzzle.
Oh, the letter's huge. This really makes us wonder what Joyce intended. It's supposedly dictated by ALP, carried by Shaun the postman, and then famously discovered by a hen named Biddy on a rubbish heap.
On a rubbish heap. Classic Joyce.
Isn't it? It's described so vividly. Crossing lines, key stains, accretions of terreous matter. Suggesting it's old, it's been through a lot, passed through many hands. Its physical state reflects how history gets distorted.
So what's in the letter? Or what do people think is in it?
That's the million-dollar question. Some scholars see it as HCE's confession, the key to his guilt or innocence. Others think it's a fragment of a lost saga, a historical document, maybe even a message from the future. It's deliberately designed to both potentially exonerate and condemn HCE. It embodies the subjective nature of truth, how slippery language is. Joyce leaves it wide open. He forces us to try and decipher it, like archaeologists with ancient fragments.
Another recurring detail that really jumped out was the number 1132. It keeps appearing, sometimes obviously, sometimes hidden, like a secret code. What's the significance there?
Yeah, 1132. The real intrigue here is its connection to a specific historical event. The destruction, or maybe a significant burning, of the Abbey of Kildare in the year 1132.
Kildare Abbey.
Yes. Founded by St. Bridget, who herself blends the Christian saint with the older pagan goddess Bread. It was a major center of learning, a spiritual hub in early Ireland. Its destruction, whether by Vikings or internal conflict, marked a kind of turning point. It symbolized the intrusion of external forces, the loss of indigenous culture, maybe the end of Ireland's golden age.
So it's not random at all.
Not at all. It's a precise, chilling connection. Joyce layers in this commentary on power, colonialism, cultural loss, Irish history, all packed into one seemingly random number. It shows how he embeds deep historical context within the dream.
Which brings us, inevitably, to the language itself. The puns, the portmanteaus, the allusions, all the different languages mixed together. It just feels, at times, almost impossible. Like learning a new language from scratch, but one that keeps changing the rules.
It is tricky. almost by design. But that's really the point and the beauty of it. Joyce is trying to capture the fluidity of dreams, right? That associative, nonlinear way our minds work when we're asleep. Dreams don't follow grammar rules, they leap about. So the advice here is try to shift your mindset.
Okay.
Don't try to understand every single word literally like it's a science textbook. Focus on the sounds, the rhythms, how the words make you feel.
Feel, not just think.
Both. It's meant to hit you on intellectual, emotional, and subconscious levels all at once. Let it wash over you, more like music than like prose. Surrender to the sensory experience.
So maybe put the dictionary down sometimes. Just go with the flow and remember to laugh because some of it is funny.
Exactly. That's the spirit. Joyce loved wordplay. He had this amazing, sometimes dark, sometimes silly sense of humor. And the Wake is packed with it, despite the difficulty. He pushes language to its absolute limits. Makes up new words, those portmanteaus where he jams two words together, blends different languages into these amazing hybrids.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like PFJ shoot.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like a meteor falling and describes the action. Or the famous thunder word, that 100-letter monster at the start. It embodies thunder and the primordial power of language itself. He creates these linguistic puzzles. The doornail passage brilliantly mixes Irish, English, Danish, Dutch into one explosive pun about history. Or the Orangolonia passage, just this wild explosion mixing orangutan, surrealism, Ethiopian folklore.
Wow.
It shows the sheer breadth of his linguistic world. He packs universes into single sentences.
And you mentioned the musicality. That really resonates. Even if the meaning is obscure, you can often just enjoy the sound, the rhythm, the way words collide.
Absolutely. Joyce was incredibly attuned to sound. He uses assonance, alliteration, onomatopoeia, all the poetic tricks to create these incredibly rich textures for the ear. The whole book is like a soundscape.
A symphony of words.
Or opera, maybe, full of different voices, sounds, musical themes. Even the title, Finnegans Wake, comes directly from an old Irish ballad. That sets the musical tone immediately. And countless other songs are woven in folk tunes, classical bits, pop songs of the day, nursery rhymes even. He even wrote a song for the book, The Ballad of Percy O'Reilly.
He wrote a song for it.
He did. A satirical piece that becomes a recurring motif. And it goes beyond just quoting songs. Avant-Garde composers, Luciano Berio, John Cage, Samuel Barber, they were directly inspired by the Wake's sonic experimentation. Its structure. Even simple kid songs like Baba Black Sheep get twisted and used in surprising ways, connecting to deeper themes, Irish history. He transforms the familiar into something strange and new. He wants you to hear it.
This idea of cycles, history repeating, keeps coming up. It feels absolutely central to the book's whole philosophy, its structure.
It is. And this is where Giambattista Vico, the 18th century Italian philosopher, becomes really important.
Vico. Okay.
Vico had this theory that history doesn't move in a straight line. It moves in grand cycles through specific ages, a divine age ruled by gods, a heroic age ruled by heroes, and a human age ruled by reason. And then, crucially, a ricorso, a return or collapse, back to a new divine age.
And Joyce uses this.
Explicitly. Finnegans Wake is structured around these Viconian cycles. You see it in the rise and fall of civilizations, the characters embodying different ages, the recurring motifs, even the language shifting. It's all condensed into this one night's dream, with the end looping back to the beginning, a perpetual cycle of creation and destruction.
That's a powerful framework. But is it also a bit bleak if history just keeps repeating? Are we just stuck? No hope for real progress or change?
This truly makes us wonder, doesn't it? While Joyce absolutely embraces Vico's cyclical view, he also subtly suggests it's not just a rigid repetition. There's room for change within the cycles. The real insight might be in what Joyce implies through those little shifts or recirculation with variations. Each cycle isn't identical.
So not an inescapable trap.
Maybe not entirely. It challenges us to see history not as fate, but as a pattern we can recognize. Understanding the past might empower us to influence the future, even slightly. Human choices, creative acts, they can subtly alter the pattern. It's less about escaping the cycle, more about recognizing it, making better choices within it. It pushes us away from simple linear thinking towards seeing the world as this complex, interconnected, evolving tapestry. It encourages engagement, not despair.
We've talked a lot about the Irishness of it all, the history, mythology, Dublin itself. It's clearly fundamental. But given the book's ambition, does it reach beyond Ireland? Is there a universal dimension, or is it ultimately quite insular?
Oh, absolutely universal. While it's deeply, deeply rooted in Ireland, obsessively so, you could say Joyce weaves in threads from everywhere, mythology, history, literature, from countless cultures.
Yeah.
Egyptian myths, Norse sagas, tales from the Arabian Nights, global folklore. It's all in there. It becomes this vast tapestry of the entire human experience. Scholars often call it a global dream.
A global dream. I like that.
And the brilliant thing is, you don't need to be an expert in every single one of those cultures to get something from it. It's about recognizing the shared patterns, the recurring archetypes that connect us all across time and space. Think how your own dreams mash together random bits from your day work, childhood, news. The Wake does that with the whole human story. You'll find echoes of your own background, your own stories. In there somewhere, it taps into a collective unconscious.
So even though it's set so specifically in early 20th century Dublin, it's really aiming for something much bigger about the human condition itself.
Precisely. That fall and resurrection of Finnegan, the Shem and Shaun rivalry, HCE's mysterious crime, these aren't just Irish plots. They're archetypal dramas. They tap into fundamental human struggles, identity meaning time, memory, life, death, creation, destruction, power, belonging, all of it. And it's all expressed through this language that mirrors consciousness itself, fluid, evolving, defying rules. That's what lets it cross cultural boundaries and speak to this shared human experience. It's timeless in that way.
Okay, so for many of us listening, the big question now is probably, this sounds amazing, but how on earth do I actually start reading this thing without my brain exploding?
A very fair question.
Luckily, that Finnegans Wake for Dummies, sourced by Sebastian Knowles, is super helpful here. And I loved his confession. He admits he was utterly terrified of the wake for years.
Yes.
Hearing an expert say that somehow makes it feel manageable. Less like a personal feeling if you find it hard.
It really does. And it highlights the biggest misconception, that you need a PhD in Joyce studies to even open the book. Not true. Knowles makes the point beautifully. Anyone who loves language, enjoys a challenge, and is willing to try a different way of reading can get something profound from it. It's an adventure, a journey into the unknown. And crucially, Knowles reminds us Joyce wanted readers to have fun with it, to embrace the humor, the playfulness, not approach it like some grim academic duty. That perspective shift takes so much pressure off.
Okay, pressure off. So what's his practical advice? He talks about a spiral approach or a ski slope method. Starting with the bunny hills. That sounds almost too easy for Finnegans Wake.
It sounds revolutionary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a brilliant analogy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't start skiing on a Black Diamond run. You wouldn't try to play Rachmaninoff on day one at the piano.
Right.
It takes patience, practice, starting small. The key, Knowles says, is accepting you won't understand everything first time through, or second, or maybe ever.
Yeah.
And that's okay. The spiral approach means you circle back around the text, but each time you gain a bit more altitude, a deeper understanding. You start recognizing things, building familiarity,
Yeah.
piecing the mosaic together.
And he actually suggests specific bunny hills, easier sections to start with.
He does, which is incredibly helpful. For your round one reading list, your gentle entry point, he suggests a few key sections. First, the Mama Festa. It's that letter the hen finds, but it's full of metaphors for the wake itself. It's like a mini guide, and he connects it beautifully to the incredible complex Tunk page in the Book of Kells, a visual metaphor for the wake's density.
Okay, start with the letter.
Then, the riddles in chapter 1.6. This is Joyce at his most playful. It's like a tasting menu of the characters, themes, language, all presented as riddles. Fun, less intimidating.
Riddles, got it.
Next, Shem the Penman, I.7. This bit has strong autobiographical vibes. You feel like you're getting inside Joyce's head as he wrestles with his own legacy, his critics. It feels more personal.
Shem the Penman. Right.
And finally, a real fan favorite, Livia Plurabelle, I.8. Widely seen as one of the most purely beautiful poetic parts of the book, it showcases Joyce's mastery of sound and rhythm. ALP's monologue flows like the rhythm she represents. It's almost hypnotic. Just let it wash over you.
Oh, okay, that's a great starting list. Mama Festa, Riddles, Shem, Livia.
Exactly. Then Knowles outlines round two, steeper slopes, like HCE's crime, the children's games, Shaun's speeches, and then round three, the boss battle. Chapter 2.3, the pub.
The boss battle.
He calls it a whirlwind montage, like a radio broadcast with clashing voices, perspectives, pure linguistic fireworks. He actually suggests reading that chapter 3 times because new layers reveal themselves each time.
3 times. Okay. Now, this is really interesting, too. Knowles suggests reading it in 2 different ways, analytically during the day and orally at night. What's the thinking there? Like having 2 different reading personalities?
It is a bit like that. It's about using different parts of your brain, engaging with the text in complementary ways. Daytime is detective mode. Get your notebook, look things up, analyze structures, trace themes, use your logical mind. Research those historical references or word origins.
Okay, the analytical approach.
Nighttime is dreamer mode.
Yeah.
Put the notes away, maybe read it aloud, just listen to the sounds, the rhythms, the music of the words. Let the puns and associations just happen.
Like letting the subconscious take over.
Exactly. Tapping into that intuitive, emotional understanding. Experiencing it more like Joyce might have intended, like a dream or a piece of music. Letting it feel rather than just mean.
Now, Knowles also mentions he didn't tackle this alone. He had his expert guides, which he calls the Four Gospels. Essential companions, it sounds like.
Yes, and that highlights a crucial point.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this in a vacuum. These four Gospels are key critical works that have helped generations of readers. There's Campbell and Robinson's Skeleton Key, the groundbreaking early roadmap, Tyndall's Reader's Guide, which goes deep into the text, Glasheen's Third Census, like an encyclopedia of all the names and allusions.
Indispensable, I bet.
Totally. And John Gordon's Plot Summary, which bravely tries to outline a narrative thread. They offer different angles, show how interpretations have changed over time, and help unpack the dense layers of myth, history, and language. They're invaluable companions.
And beyond books, Knowles really pushes the idea of finding a community, a book club, an online group, reading it together.
Absolutely. The value of sharing the journey is huge with a book like this. Sharing those aha moments when something clicks, helping each other through the really dense patches. It just makes the whole experience richer, less daunting.
Turns it from a solitary struggle into a shared adventure.
Exactly. It becomes a communal act of interpretation, which feels very much in the spirit of the Wake itself.
What about that missing apostrophe? Finnegans Wake, not Finnegans Wake. Such a tiny detail, but it seems deliberate, important.
This truly makes us wonder about Joyce's signals. That missing apostrophe is pure Joyce. It's a message right on the cover. It signals a world without fixed boundaries, where time flows, characters merge, the story loops. No apostrophe means the Wake doesn't belong to one specific Finnegan.
It belongs to any Finnegan, or all Finnegan.
Precisely. It hints at the universal nature of the cycle, the fall and rise applying to everyone. It immediately tells you, forget standard grammar, forget single ownership. This is about multiplicity, a tiny detail with huge implications.
And finally, what's this Finnegans Wake paradox Knowles talks about? It sounds like another Joyce riddle, a catch-22 for readers.
It does sound like a riddle.
Yeah.
And it points to a real challenge.
Yeah.
The paradox is basically the idea that you can only really read Finnegans Wake if you've already read it.
Wait, what?
Because it's not linear. You need some familiarity with the strange language, the structure, the recurring themes to make sense of any given part. It's like trying to understand the punchline of a joke you haven't heard the setup for.
Okay, I see the problem.
The spiral approach is the way around it. You build that familiarity gradually. You loop back. It's a challenge, definitely, but not a reason to give up. It's an invitation to engage differently, to participate in the unfolding mystery over time.
Wow. What a journey just talking about it. Now, it's pretty clear Finnegans Wake wasn't exactly an overnight bestseller when it finally came out in 1939 after, 17 years of writing?
17 years, yes. And not an overnight bestseller is putting it mildly.
How bad was the reaction?
It was overwhelming negative initially, even from Joyce's closest friends and biggest supporters. His own brother, Stanislaus, called it incomprehensible.
Ouch, from his brother.
Right. Ezra Pound, who'd championed Ulysses, basically threw up his hands and questioned if anything could justify that level of difficulty. H.G. Wells famously grumbled, "Who the hell is this Joyce who demands so many waking hours?"
I can sympathize.
Critics mostly called it gibberish, a literary monstrosity. Some saw glimmers of genius, but the overall feeling was that it was impenetrable, self-indulgent, maybe even a dead end for literature. A betrayal of modernism, some felt.
So what changed? How did it go from gibberish to being seen as this profound masterpiece, this subject of intense scholarship?
A crucial point emerges here. It was a slow burn. A few early champions, like the American writer Thornton Wilder, insisted there was a hidden structure, profound meaning, if you looked hard enough. But the real game changer was that Skeleton Key to Finnegans Wake in 1944 by Campbell and Robinson. It provided that desperately needed roadmap. It made the book seem less like a random explosion and more like a coded message that could be deciphered.
Gave people a way in.
Exactly. Then, as literary theory evolved, critics got better equipped to handle experimental forms. They started appreciating the linguistic innovation, the thematic depth. By the mid-20th century, the tide had turned. It started being hailed as this landmark achievement. Like the Book of Kells, people realized its complexity was its richness. It demanded close reading, multiple interpretations. Joyce, in a way, had translated the spirit of that ancient, dense, multi-layered Irish manuscript into a radical new form for the modern age. The difficulty became part of its value.
Wow, what an absolutely incredible deep dive into Finnegans Wake. We've touched on its unique structure, that mind-bending language, the history, the myth, the characters, but maybe the most important thing is we've explored ways you can actually approach this book without feeling totally overwhelmed, turning it from Mount Impossible into, well, maybe a challenging but rewarding climb.
What's truly captivating here, I think, is that Finnegans Wake isn't just a book. It's an experience. It is a challenge, yes, a puzzle, a dream captured on paper. But ultimately, it's an invitation.
An invitation to what?
An invitation to play with language like never before, to dive deep into history's cycles, to explore the wild territory of your own imagination and subconscious. It's not about understanding every single thing. That's impossible, maybe even missing the point. It's about letting it change how you see the world, how you experience language itself, how you think about meaning. It encourages embracing ambiguity, complexity, as just part of life.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener, if you're thinking about embarking on your own Finnegans Wake adventure, whether it's just dipping a toe in or going for the full immersion?
This truly makes us wonder, could it be that Finnegans Wake, maybe because of its notorious difficulty, its obscurity, actually taps into a more primal, more ancient way of understanding? One that relies less on rigid logic and linear language, and more on sound, on association, on intuition, on gut feeling, before language got quite so
A
codified.
creological way of knowing.
Perhaps keep that question in mind if you do decide to navigate this extraordinary text. It is absolutely a journey worth taking, even with the inevitable stumble, the moments of getting utterly lost in the wordplay, the feeling of bewilderment, because the deep joy of reading the Wake isn't really in finding all the answers. It's in embracing the questions. It's in reveling in the mystery, the complexity, the sheer beauty of a text that just keeps unfolding, keeps offering more every single time you return to it. It expands what literature and maybe even what consciousness can be.
Happy reading, happy exploring, and as always, keep diving.